Hi, how are you? This is Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, and this is the Mindfully Integrative Show. So today we have an awesome guest and a mindful chat with Katie Chonacas. She is an actor, producer, director, award-winning director and actor and writer. She's done a lot of great things, but I have her on the show because she's kind of implementing health in a different way and bringing out vision in like web and movies and things. So I just can't wait for you to discuss and talk with her because she's got a lot to talk about. So hey Katie, thanks for coming on.
Hi, thank you. Damaris, thank you so much for having me. And just before the chat, Stoa, the little baby, he's a furry friend. You might hear some natural primal sounds throughout our chat. So thank you for understanding in advance. I appreciate you and the listener and the watcher.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, that's our life, you know. We all got to get through. So
got to show up and make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about kind of something people don't know about you. You know, they may be able to find you, but what is something people may not know about you? Something fun, some fact about?
Yeah. Well, something really personal or professional.
It can be anything, something fun. Like people will be like, oh, I did martial arts. Oh, I like the color blue. Like random. It could be anything.
Yeah. I went to DJ music school for 1 year. I grew up in the DJ electronic music underground scene before DJs were really popular in Western civilization. And so as a kid, I would be at all these rave parties growing up, just listening to sounds and rhythms and beats. And it was like a total culture and a vibe. And I learned so much about music, and I just always had a passion for music and DJing. And there wasn't a lot of girl DJs back then. And like all the girls that were DJs, they had boyfriends who had the equipment, and that's how they learned, or they were with their, you know, their tribes of people, their crew, I guess you would say, more so. And I didn't have that. And I didn't think like, oh, go to Guitar Center, like pick up your own equipment. Like I didn't get on the train tracks to do that, which is a reflective state I look at from time to time. Like, what if I would have like got something used and I actually got the tool to, and I learned it by myself as a self-starter. I didn't have that kind of courage when I was younger, but I wonder sometimes if I had that, what would have it, what would have it looked like? And then later on, I went out into my life and my journey and my career, and it just kept coming back up. And then there was an opportunity for this DJ school, and you could do 6 weeks. And I did the 6 weeks. And then after that, you decide if you want to sign up for the year program. And of course I did. And I went on a discovery to find out what kind of DJ I am, because there's so many different kinds of DJs. And lastly, I'll tell you the really cool thing about the program is I'm an actor first and foremost. And as an actor right now, you're listening and I'm speaking. But the other side of that is listening, right? So when I'm doing auditions and self-tapes, a lot of actors, and I've seen it in acting classes on auditions, the actor's talking, but then when you go to speak, it's like a deer in headlights. Someone's thinking about their next line. They're not connected and they're looking down at their lines. Mm-hmm. And so it was a really great program because I became a better listener. So, you know, as a human, for humanity and my friendships and my relationships, and for my craft of acting, it was a really unexpected, beautiful gift.
That's amazing. So it's like one learned thing kind of gave you an opening to be an even better actor.
Yes, exactly. And I feel that's how it is with everything in life. There's gifts and gems. Pardon?
The gems and teaching.
Yes. And it's in every single thing. It's our perception and how we choose to look at it, what we see and what we don't see.
I really like that. I think I couldn't agree more that in all aspects you do learn, even when you may not really see it. Maybe in hindsight, you see it later, or at the time you might be not understanding of what's going on, but those little parts will help you along the way. So I know that you're a very accomplished actor and director and producer. and that you have a beautiful story and you've won a number of awards recently. And like I said, I apologized to you before because I didn't even know. I'm, so caught up in the medical and health field and without work and stuff. So, but I love creativity. I love yoga and health and stuff. So I'm always really fond of the creatives and what you can offer to the world. And I just wanted you to really kind of touch base and kind of talk to me a little bit about your story and kind of where you kind of dived in and transitioned to where you are now.
Sure, sure. A shout out to Robert Sturman, the amazing artist. It's our mutual friend, actually, in the
Yeah, right.
yoga community and in the world. So yeah, hello to Robert. We love you.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
he's amazing too.
Yeah. So when I came to Los Angeles and I met Robert, he actually turned me on to Khalil Gibran, and he and I did so many projects together. And, he was a big inspiration for me. So when I was a kid growing up in Michigan, I always sought out mentors. My dad was my mentor. He ran cross country. He turned me on to cross country. I learned about short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. Cross country is a team sport, but it's an individual sport. And what we do as an individual affects the whole. So it's like, I'm the ripple effect. We're the ripple effect, right? So it really starts with self, like, what we attune to, what we align with. And, having that structure and platform when I was a child really prepared me for the game of life, and I applied those principles, not only in my professional life, but in the workplace. So I look at it as a garden, right? Reap what you sow. So I sow these seeds and then I nurture them, I tend to them, I water them, and every day, multiple times per day. And then once every 3 months, I'll do a rake. I'll rake away all the duds. And I'm like, okay, but I dismantle and I don't have a negative emotional reaction to them. I'm just like, that's what it was. I dismantle it. And it's more like data. Like because you don't know, it could be, and I don't want to use the terms of like black or white, like it could be a black seed or a white seed, but it's just a seed and you don't know what those seeds are going to be. Orange, green, yellow, gold. You just never know. So you sow the seeds, you do a rake. And then once you do a rake, you're like, oh, okay, this is blossoming. This is really sprouting up. You nurture it some more, you keep nurturing it, and then you sow more seeds. How do we do that? Reading books, being here, connecting, being on podcasts, listening to podcasts, networking, getting ourselves out there, being an extrovert. However, also being an introvert, maybe taking time off from socializing and talking to everyone. Maybe the energy's out there and I just need to, get still and in solitude and be by myself. I did Vipassana, a 10-day silent meditation. I've done it twice. You can do it all around the world. It's absolutely free. And if you don't do it for your human self, for, the betterment of you, being an artist, doing it for your artist, it's so specific because you get into the intelligence of your body, like the language and sensorially what's coming up and what passes through us like an ocean. It's so beautiful. So, I've been just tending my garden ever since I was really young. And, I've done that within my career and, before I continue on, but maybe you just want to chime in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great when you talk about kind of tending to yourself and knowing that you need to be that self-care component. You've taken 10 days of, silence to kind of look within. People sometimes I can't even get someone to give me 10 minutes. So the fact that you tried for 10 days or, a good amount of silence, like in a, inward, is a beautiful thing. And I think that people just looking 10 minutes for me, I hope for with someone just to get them to kind of, quiet their mind.
Well, may I comment on that?
Yeah.
So what you just said, it's difficult. It's so challenging, even for me. I couldn't wait to shut up. I couldn't wait to stop talking because I couldn't stop. Sometimes I'm just like, you get hijacked because you're, Dr. Joe Dispenza, 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts. And it's like, I'm like, as an observer, I'm watching myself like the old Katie go. And I'm like, I just stop. And you see when people are attuned or they're just entertained, but sometimes you're just on this tangent, like the train has left the station and And like, it's like practicing self-control. I couldn't stop myself, even though I'm in it and I'm like, oh, I'm already halfway in it. I might as well just go all the way. And I would see the train just like run itself to the ground and like collapse and like burn itself out. The issue is, I don't say the problem, the challenge in the interpersonal game and how we perceive it is, oh, there it goes again. Up, nip it in the butt. Oh, there it goes again. Up, nip it in the butt. Oh, reel it in, reel it in. And it's the reason why it's the point of resistance. We each have a point of resistance. That's that irritation of that thing of like that 10 minutes just to sit, to focus the attention, right? It's there's a beautiful book called Roaming Free Inside the Cage, and it talks about the Enneagram coupled with Taoism and our Enneagram numbers based on our habitual patterns, and then our wings, and then our point of resistance. So mine is personal need. Anytime I need to fulfill my point of resistance, anytime I need to fulfill my personal need, I want to help you. I want to help anyone but myself, because I feel selfish would be a word, or I would feel guilty somewhere along the way of putting myself first and taking care of my personal needs. So it takes so much courage and strength for me to like do it, because a lot of people don't want you to do it because they're saying they put you down, or they're saying, oh, da, 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 and they're saying this about you, or and it's like, stop the noise, stop listening to that.
Your personal gain, like you realize you still have to give yourself that self-love and that self-care, or you won't be able to grow.
Must. And I have a tactic for that. And so
how do you go about that?
So it's an analogy of this. And I have clients that I coach, which I'm really excited about.
I'll have to talk. Yeah, you'll have to tell us about a client or anything that you work with. Yeah.
Yeah, industry and then life coaching. So one of the things I do is, your 100 is different than my 100. And whoever is tuning in right now, your 100 is different. Your mom's, your dad, your partners, everyone 100 is different. But instead of going to 100 and burning out, when you're going into each project, you're like, okay, this is how much it's going to take of me. So, brakes on a car, the pads, and if you don't change them, they get rusty, they get old, they start making that noise if you don't change them. So I coach people, and I started this with myself. I coach myself. I have so much energy. People are like, whoa. So when I get to my 80, people think that could be my 100. So when I get to my 80, I check in with myself. Do I have some more in the tank? Am I good to go? Am I feeling I should wrap it up? And I listen to that voice, the intuition. I can give it a little more. I want to give it a little more. But when you're at that 80, act like it's your 100. So you give yourself that 20 to keep going for maybe another 5 or 10, or be like, I have to wrap this up. And I showed up and I volunteered and I gave my time and this is it. But leave that 20 for, I just got chills. Leave the 20, leave it for the unknown. Leave the canvas, leave a space on the canvas for an Epsom salt bath, for silence, for meditation. Caroline Mice, Esther Hicks, Dr. Greg Braden, Dr. Huberman, they all have podcasts. They all have TED Talks. They all have YouTubes. Gabor Mate, learning about trauma. So leave that space for music, to dance, to cry, to sleep, to get ready for bed earlier, like whatever, but just leave that 20% for the unknown. Because in that unknown, you might want to call your mom. You might want to call someone and share news. You might want to call and listen and just be there for someone, and take in the love. You might just want to pray, you might want to turn on any TV show, anything. Right. So just
instead of just zoning out, but you're giving yourself that 20, that extra. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's really, really great. That's kind of your almost it's kind of your intuition of like where you need to be, and every day it might be different, or every day might be the same. That's really great. Do you want to talk more about your what you just did, like in this past year? A lot of us, or a year and a half now it's been, you kind of transitioned and were able to take something of a pandemic, but then you made it into this positive new embarked journey, and you did something with that. Would you like to talk about it?
Sure. I did 2 things off my mind. I did that, but the one thing is March 2020 came, and when everything was happening, what I do, my patterns, my habitual routines of what I do, I'm like, okay, create something out of nothing, positivity. I just put I just put my head down, focus. I called up my friend, East Coast to West Coast, Alessandra Levy, Nikki Scorpio, and I created through the pandemic an improv comedy lockdown web series. And we did seasons 1, 2, and 3. Seasons 1 and 2 are out on the Sophisticated Psychos YouTube channel. And as a producer,
Sophisticated, wait, say that again. Sophisticated
Psychos.
Psychos.
Yeah. It's called Couples Therapy, season 1 and 2.
Awesome. Couple therapy. I want people to check it out. So I'll have it on the links too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cause it's like everyone's home. You're with so a lot of people are with their significant other, people they're, relating with or living with their circumstances, and how are they feeling and what are they growing through and what are they going to learn and what are they facing? I thought everyone could relate. So we talk about Caroline Mice. We talk about, spirituality and being a motivational speaker. And we let out all these raw things about being home during the pandemic, but we talk about healing mechanisms and mechanics and people, and neuroscientists and things that we can do to be healthy, mindful, and balanced during these times. So the yin and the yang, right?
I love it. Yeah. I can't wait, and you won awards for this too, didn't you?
Yes. So we were, so the energy, so everything's in energy, good, bad, whatever. It's just energy, right? So how could this energy be reciprocal? So I put it on the train tracks to the film festival circuit. I did my research. I talked to my industry folks about it, and we did it 1000% proper. And we had over 900 invitations. We accepted just under 100, and we've won about 27 best web series so far. And I won best actor for 4, and best director for 4 so far as well.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't wait to put the links on that. And what do you feel like you've learned the most, just even in that alone? I know we've talked a lot about your history of kind of using your cross country and different parts that coached you to be a better you. But through this series, what did you feel like you learned from? Because you went from, we're all trying to change and, have a better perspective since the pandemic and hope that we can, have a better self. What did you learn from this, you think?
Sure. I learned so much, but one of the things I learned was now we saw the proof is in the pudding and a system that works, where just yesterday I shot as an actor, producer, director, an expression piece about the revolution that we're all in and the how we're evolving. And I do voiceovers. And so there's going to be an intro, my voiceover as an actor. And then it's this message of furry friends and being primal and babies and innocence and the emotions we go through. And I creatively put that together with artists and my friends. And I did it all in mind, very specific to put it in the film festival circuit with art and fashion and acting. And so for it to be reciprocal, to be able to win these awards. And the other thing I learned was, I've known it for a long time, but I was actually feeling it, which was so amazing, doing it with people hand in hand and not doing it all on my own. Because before, I knew I could do it all alone, but it's not as fun and it's more interactive and less pressure when you kind of have a lot of faith and trust and share with one another the balance of letting go of not being micromanaging and being in control, and then having that trust. So instead of me self-financing the whole project, like I did with 2 other short films that I did that weren't as successful as this project, because I had a team and I communicated with them. I told them my insecurities. I told them this is where we are. This is what I think. And we did a projected budget and we split it 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And we did it as a team, and we've done everything as a team.
That's awesome.
And by really
it's
doing
really
that.
important. I learned that too through the years of work and in business and work and health, and that I got farther with more help, and you can't do it alone. It's like you got to work together, because there's just so much to offer, and you have so much to offer. So you probably, as a team, you probably did so much more.
And someone said something recently, and it really stuck with me. And when we're right, I can do it alone, and we do it my way, and we're right, it's for you. But when we're out of our mind, and a lot of people are scared or unknown about how it'll look if other people are involved, the collective consciousness and other people. But when you're out of your mind and you're giving other people an opportunity, we're giving ourselves an opportunity, and it's more than just us. It's for something greater than us. It's for God and the universe and inspiration, and, you know, for the unknowns of the ethics and the morals and the values and the faith and those things that maybe you can't like touch, like this bracelet, right? Like a materialistic object, but our thoughts are energy that turn into a form. Yeah, that turn into a form, that turn into a matter, like this materialistic mic here, like a laptop here. So it's an idea, like a faith and inspiration, and what we channel is that grace and that gift. So it's if we're aware of the ocean waves that come and go. And so journaling is amazing, and writing down everything that's joy and writing everything down that's bothersome, and then going back after 30, 40 days and circling and see what keeps coming up, and then do that thing that keeps coming up that inspires you. That's and get it out of your head. That's what keeps coming up. And if nothing's coming up, sorry.
Oh, and if nothing's coming up, how did you feel that?
Say that again. And if nothing's coming up, look at it. I like these analogies. Look at it as like a clogged drain in your hippocampus. You have like a clogged drain. It's clogged. And so just start writing, and just start writing so many things until you get to past the concrete muck of the mundane things that we've been taught on the cycle of the same thoughts over and over again. When you break past that. So you might have to write down a bunch of things you don't like and things that are frustrating you, or the boring stuff. And then there's that subtle shift of energy where it takes you to toes in the sand. You know what I mean? And then I keep writing toes in the sand. Boom.
What is toes in the sand? And, you know, and that could be something else. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think that the clogged, clogged arteries, clogged mind, clogged thinking. And then it's like, we need to clear some of that out, and that muck and the things that are going on. And you're using your work, your time, but then you've used this aspect of your, I'd say meditation, but your way of journaling. You've used exercise, your 20%, extra points for people. Would you like to share a story, either a client or about yourself, that recently, or the project you had just finished, but that you've been kind of touched on?
Sure. So do you want to talk about a client story or the project I just did yesterday? Or
it's up to you. Either one would be wonderful for discuss. I feel like you have a wealth of things to kind of give to the audience, and I want them to reach out to you at some point too.
Yeah. My client that I just had the other day, she said to me, you know what? Like, I just realized we're coming up on 1 year. And
wow. Great.
Yeah. And I have 2 clients who one has already been a year and the other one a year. And these specific clients, when I first started, I said, I want one client. I want to tend to this one client. And I did for a few months. And then another one came, and then another one came. But when I got another one, I'm like, I'm just going to focus on this client now, just this client. And so just these 2 clients. And then naturally it just started building through word of mouth. So the thing is about, the client the other day who just said, oh, we're coming up on 1 year. And we had a moment of acknowledgement and gratitude, but she showed up, and she showed up every week, all the holidays, Christmas, Valentine's, her birthday, any holiday you can think of. We did 52 weeks. She did not miss 1 week.
Wow.
52 weeks. And then I did it too. So it's not just her. I didn't take holidays off. And I was so committed to her growth and the joy in my heart of being on her journey, because everyone's on their own journey, and we can meet people where they are. And then we have a Google Drive, and then we build on that Google Drive, but it's very specific, and it's not just one thing, because everything you have to fill up the different cups. So it might be about the craft of acting and the craft of the work, but she's telling me stories. And while I'm listening to her tell me stories, I say, I'm so happy you shared that with me. Now you can take that and what you stand for, put it into your work. And remember that feeling about your family member. Remember that feeling about this politician. Remember that feeling of what fires you up, because you can take that and put it into your character. You can take it and put it into your work, right?
Right. Yeah. So
And
you were able
connecting
to
it.
yeah, connecting it. You've been interconnecting. You've been taking all of your aspects of your life and your health and kind of now coaching and kind of empowering other people and making a difference that way. I'd love for you to like say a little mindful tip and then let the listeners know ways that they connect with you and how they can reach you.
Sure. A great mindful tip would be to tune into She's All Over the Place podcast, because each episode is so unique and it has health, mind, body, spirit,
Which
self.
podcast?
It's called She's All Over the Place podcast.
That's your podcast.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's all over the place. That's what I mean. I forgot to say that in the beginning. Your podcast, she's all over the place. I can't wait for people to. That's one.
Yes. So that's
that.
a great tip for people to get a lot of value and just soak up. There's 3 full seasons. And if there's something specific you want to know about, you can just reach out to me and email me from my website, and I can attune you to a certain episode. Or if you want to talk more about things, you can just email me and get in touch with me. But someone I really, really like is Caroline Myss, MYSS, and she talks about choices, and she has a TED talk on choices. And I can send you the article, but I write for Ariana Huffington. I used to write for her on Huffington Post and now on Thrive Global. And when she shifted over to Thrive Global, I was meditating for a few months. I'm like, what's the first piece going to be about? And it just, a gust of wind just hit me when I was introduced to Caroline Myss and I saw her TED talk on choices. I was so moved that I wrote an article, and she says very specifically the quality of our choices. And people think the macro choices, breaking up with someone or the move, is the macro choice, but it's actually the beginning of the conversation where we said those gems and those subtle gifts along the way, being attuned. It's those micro choices that make the macro and the big choices of our lives, actually. So I would invite everyone to just listen to that TED talk. I'll send you the article if you want to put in the show notes. And on Overdrive, you can download the Overdrive app. If you have a library card, you can download up to 30 audiobooks per month for free. And Caroline Myss has over 10 books on there, and she reads them herself. So to hear the author and their grace and their heart and their soul and the way they speak about what they're saying, the language, it's so healing.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I mean, I really appreciate you being on the podcast today. Is there anything that you'd like to add before we go, or things that are coming up that you'd like to share? I know that you said we were talking before, and I'd love for you to talk about it. You said you were doing some music and videos that were coming out soon.
Definitely. Right now, I'm very focused on being a household name in TV and film and an animation series. And as a passion project, because I love music and so much, I have the group, The Sophisticated Psychos. And so yesterday I acted and produced and directed a piece. It's called Miracles Go to Mars. And it'll be released on 11/11 on my birthday. And I can give you the song if you want to play it after the episode. And so everyone will have a sneak peek of what it sounds like. And then it'll be on YouTube, and then, so I'm releasing this EP 11/11 on my birthday. And it has quantum physics in it. So all of our music has healing properties with different healing frequencies. So
I love it. So nice binaural beats are through the hertz of that's awesome. See,
Solfeggio frequencies.
Beautiful. Would you like to explain that a little bit to anyone? Or, I mean, basically the healing properties of how our mind thinks.
Definitely. So I'm not a scientist. So
no, not at all. Not in any way, but like just the general simplistic way of, I say it's a way of hearing, and there's different hertz so that the mind can listen.
Yeah. And then I learned from Alejandro Junger, who has an amazing book called Clean. He's a New York best time seller, but he talks about in his book quantum detoxification. So basically, the past and dismantling old habitual patterns to be able to, detoxify on a psychological level. So I feel like when we're doing that and allowing, we have 12 main chakras, 7 main chakras in our body, we have meridian points. And so when we hear classical music or things that attune to us and we vibrate in kundalini, it's raising of the energy. So if you're drinking and being in your lizard brain and, you know, mental abuse and stuff, it's just very, very small in the egoics, like, you know, it's really dumbed down. It's very small, and it's very tight and it's very difficult. It's like a rock for any healing properties to get in. However, when you have, you know, solfeggio healing frequencies and we listen to them, and I say, I mean, all of them are good anytime, but I like after a bath or after I've had a, you know, a hot shower. So I'm decompressed. So I'm more open to receive like a sponge and
Yeah,
to
you're more like
allow.
you're open your cells, your vasodilator, you're ready to open and receive what that energy in.
Yeah, definitely. So we work with the scientists over at Subtle Energy. So on Instagram, it's subtle_energy, and then it's energy, subtleenergysciences.com. But we work with the scientist Eric Thompson. So he
Cool.
encodes the quantum physics into our music.
That's so cool. That's really exciting. Well, I can't wait to have it put into the show notes, and maybe I'll be able to put this podcast on your birthday. So what,
Ooh,
11/11? That be so those listening, I hope you get to enjoy and check her out. This is amazing. So thank you so much, Katie, for being on. I really appreciate your time and all of your wonderful thoughts and insight.
what a treat. Thank you so much. And thank you for, you know, the viewer and the listener for tuning in and holding space with us right now.
Thank you again. And thanks, listeners, each day for coming on to the Mindfully Integrative Show and checking us out. And hope you find within yourself a mindful way each and every day. You have a wonderful day, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.